And there's this whole battle, natural hair versus wigs or weaves. What's your take on it?
Your natural hair is good for church programs. Your natural hair is good for when you want to pick your kids at school.
Oh, wow.
Don't bring your natural hair to my event. I have natural hair, but I'm wearing a wig. But I don't have to. I can wear my natural hair if I want to go out. If I'm going to the beach, now I can wear my natural hair. It's good for the beach. If I'm going to church, it's okay. Do you get what I'm saying? If I'm going to pick maybe going to play with my niece, it's cool. If I'm in my house, it's okay. But why would I want to wear a nice dress, expensive dress, expensive heels? At least I'll do ponytail. At least. Like, but when you do natural hair, you're wearing a nice dress. I'm looking at the dress up. I just look at the face, and they do one thing. They do one thing when they pay me. So we not do that small makeup and say you're a minimalist. No, no,
Chloe.
No. What? See, in order to understand a black woman's love for America, you got to understand post-traumatic slavery disease. You must. We got to talk about this cooning. Cooning is a cancer that kills the consciousness of our collective efforts. Cooning is the cancer that kills the consciousness of our collective efforts. Cooning is the cancer that kills the consciousness of our collective efforts. We must do better.
I hope black women are paying attention. I hope black women are paying attention. I hope black women are paying attention because you stood in unity with the white feminists. You black feminists stood in unity with the white feminists.
Okay, so I know this is a conversation amongst the African girlies, but I'm going to insert my Caribbean American business in here because I feel like I have good points. First and foremost, is her comment ignorant? Is it rooted in self-hate and anti-blackness? Yes, duh. But we're not here to talk about the obvious. Let's scratch beneath the surface and talk about the contemporary reasons why there's a lot of black women, not just this lady, that feel the way they do about their hair. So one of the first things I will say is that the contemporary fashion industry does not make it easy to have black hair and be in the business of modeling or doing anything of the sort. Not only are a lot of modeling agencies and talent scouts incredibly lazy, and they will just advise any black woman on their roster to literally shave her head, but even the ones who do decide not to go that route, they constantly complain about stylists who have no idea how to do ethnic hair, who leave their hair worse than how they found it, and they have to go in the back room and try and make it look halfway decent after it's been electrocuted by these incompetent stylists. And so many other horror stories that the end result is that very rarely in the high fashion space do you see black hair done right. So what we end up with ultimately is this dichotomy of black women in high fashion who veer either in point A or point B. Point A is like your Naomi Campbell, pin straight, very Eurocentric look, and then point B is like an Alec Weck, sub-Saharan, bald, very, very specific look on a black woman. And only very recently was there any middle ground between those 2 points. So what has happened is that subconsciously, because of an utter lack of representation and because of incompetence on behalf of the powers that be who we cannot see that dominate the industry, there is this subconscious belief amongst a lot of black women that their natural hair, which again is not the depiction of either a Naomi Campbell or an Alec Weck type of black woman, is simply not good enough to be in a luxury setting, wearing luxury items and doing luxury things. And I'm not saying that's everybody's reason for having this take, but it definitely aids and abets in the subconscious belief that our hair is not refined enough. The good thing is that's changing. We have young black models like Lenice Montero. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that young lady's name, but she is an Afro-Dominican, I want to say, model. And she wears her hair in a 4C Afro state, completely unaltered. She wears braids occasionally, but she makes it a point, and her team make it a point, that she goes on the runway and does these editorial magazine ads with her hair in its Afro kinky state, which I think is going to be a wonderful counter to the completely horrible status quo that we've set for a lot of black women who do dabble in luxury things and who do like to look at high-end, highbrow kind of editorial things and not seeing us represented in the pages and in the ads and in the stores and so on and so forth. But I say all that to say nothing exists in a vacuum, and if we move beyond the surface of what was being said, there's a lot to unpack.
Why is it always the women with the worst wigs and weaves that want to bring up the hair topic? You can't listen to a woman who draws her edges on her forehead, a woman with no edges, and a woman with mysterious ones, because we don't even know what's going on underneath that headband. As a woman who has been natural all her life, has had different natural hairstyles, and has looked good in each and every one of them, natural hair queens, continue to do you and wear your hair wherever you want to wear it. They must be living under a rock, because natural hair and just hairstyles in general have evolved.
Y'all get a mic and say anything. As a girl who believes that natural hair looks the best on black women, it is the most feminine and is the most pretty. It makes you look softer. And for a woman who feels that way, and then you have these type of women who advocate for you to cover your crown consistently, constantly, when it comes to events and when it comes to special occasions, you feel like your crown isn't good enough. That is a problem. You are completely brainwashed. Every other race and culture value the hair that grows out of their head, and they don't even have to have a natural hair movement. That's ridiculous. Do you know how ridiculous that sounds, to have a natural hair movement? You have to have a movement that encourages people in your culture to walk outside the house with the hair that grows out of their head. And you feel like that's okay. Oh, let's get into that. Let's also get into the fact that she goes on to talk about how dare you wear a gown and a full B face with natural hair. Babe, that wig on your head look a mess. You knew you was going to be on camera. You think that is more suitable than the hair that grows out of your head? Then your kinks, your coils, and your fro, you think that's more suitable. You look a mess. You got to wear a headband to cover up the net. But yet, that's what you prefer over the hair that God gave you, or the hair that grows out of your head, or kinks and coils. It just makes no sense. Y'all need to check yourself at the door, literally.
For a black woman to wear her natural hair, however that manifests itself,
Yes.
to me is a declaration of power and of pride and of love and of identity. I'm just a huge fan of it. I really am. I'm a huge fan of it. I understand why we do the wigs and I understand it. But I understand it, but I would never demand it.